Atomic Heart has just released and I already made a facts and tips video. Finally, for once, I'm not late. I am also currently working on an Easter eggs and lore video, so remember to like and subscribe to not miss that. The very first tip I'm going to give you is to use melee weapons. Despite the fact that guns might seem like a very good alternative to melee weapons, I recommend you not use them as much. Ammo is quite rare in Atomic Heart, so eventually you run out and you have to resort to using melee weapons, which will be very unfortunate if you run out of ammo during a boss fight, for example. So my tip here is to not disassemble melee weapons, keep at least one in your backpack, and use guns only on very tough boss-like enemies. And also remember to use your plasmids, or whatever they're called in this game, because they're infinite and they are very helpful, especially on Armageddon difficulty. The next tip is going to be related to your glove's special abilities, more specifically the shock ability. The shock ability is the very first special ability you get in the game, and it's actually very good. Not only can it stun enemies, giving you time to attack, but you can also interrupt their heavy attacks. So if you see a robot running at you at 50 km per hour ready to dropkick you, you can simply use the shock ability to stop his attack. Furthermore, the shock ability is also very effective against flying robots. One shot from a pistol and one zap from the shock ability is enough to take these drones down, even on the hardest difficulty. Also, the shock is very useful to disable cameras for a long period of time. Speaking of cameras, this leads us to our next tip, and it is to not destroy cameras. I know it sounds strange at first, but when you're outside and you try and destroy a camera, most likely it will notice you.
Comrade Major, based on the enemy's alert level data, you are fucked.
And even if you manage to successfully destroy one, it will be quickly repaired by a bee. And in case you didn't know, pchela means bee in Russian. So what I recommend you to do is to zap it and not destroy it. Also, if you are low on resources, it might be good to get caught by the camera, because it will spawn robots that then you can destroy to get loot. And if the fight becomes too intense, you can just run away and the alert level will go down alongside the robots chasing you. The next tip I'm going to give you is to explore the world. And I know it sounds obvious, like shoot at enemies to deal damage, but it's actually very important, because if you were reading 2022 reviews of Atomic Heart, you might remember that many video game journalists were complaining that they weren't much loot in the world and you weren't rewarded for searching under every rock for loot. But this was actually fixed, and now it is very beneficial to explore the world, because not only you can find chests with rare upgrade materials, but also schematics that allow you to build unique weapon upgrades and sometimes even entirely new guns. Yet another tip that's gonna help you get resources to upgrade your guns is to recycle items you don't use. If your backpack is full, some items you collect will go to the storage, and sometimes you might forget about them or just not use them at all. For example, I don't use these flasks that restore your energy because energy automatically regenerates, so it doesn't make much sense to use them because I can just wait for my energy to recharge. So I prefer to recycle them and get some valuable resources I can then use to upgrade my weapons. The same can be said for ammo that you have in your inventory but you can't use because you don't have the necessary weapon. In this situation, it might be good to store them, and once you manage to craft this weapon, pick them back up, but I prefer disassembling them because I can just use other guns instead. Also, speaking of energy, I think it is very important to mention the energy pistol. What's special about this gun is that the ammo it uses is energy, which, as I said, regenerates over time, so technically it's a gun with infinite ammo capacity, which can come in very handy if you consider the fact that ammo is quite scarce in this game. Although it doesn't deal a lot of damage, it is still a pretty good ranged option if you don't have any more ammo left. The next tip is again related to the topic of crafting, but this time I want you to plan the crafting ahead. You see, when I was playing Atomic Heart, I was focusing on upgrading weapons I already own and crafting health and ammo, but because of that, whenever I received a blueprint for a new weapon, I could not craft it and had to save up resources. And despite the fact that you can farm enemies for loot pretty much infinitely, it is still very important to plan ahead what you're going to craft, whether you upgrade your already existing equipment but not immediately acquire new weapons, or not upgrade your weapons and not craft ammo but save resources to craft better guns. The next fact is going to help you in your battles because I found a way to cancel the healing animation. Normally when you use a healing item you have this animation that plays during which you cannot attack, which can be crucial in some moments. But you can actually easily skip this animation by just simply switching to another weapon. The next tip is also related to combat, but this time it is related to the scanner. When you scan an enemy, you get their information, which includes their name, but most importantly, their weaknesses. If you are having trouble defeating enemies, scan them to see their weaknesses and adapt your abilities and weapon cartridges to the element they are less protected from. And finally, the last tip I'm going to give you is to not kill animals. Yes, it is that simple, but seriously, animals don't drop any loot whatsoever, but they can fight back, so it's better to avoid them if you don't want to receive useless extra damage. So that was all, thank you everyone for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video, bye.